wanted to share with you a story of our worldly travels.
In Japan!
In Japan. So some of you may not know, we actually went to Japan for about 2 weeks last year. So the story that we wanted to share with you is a bit of a like horror story, I guess, a travel horror story.
Yeah, which is weird because that whole trip to Japan was pretty well amazing.
About like 4 days into our trip, I think, we went to Kyoto. So we went traveling with my parents to Japan because my dad was running the marathon there in Tokyo. And so this night we decided to sort of separate from my parents and sort of do our own thing. And so we had taken a taxi to Kyoto Station to sort of look at all of the shops in Kyoto Station because their train stations are like shopping malls. So we were like just outside Kyoto Station and we were waiting for a stoplight to like cross over, and there was like this giant sort of electronic shopping mall that we wanted to check out. As we were like waiting for this light to stop, we see this like white man. I was like a little bit surprised by it because we hadn't seen other foreigners since we like really left Tokyo.
Yeah.
And so I sort of like made eye contact with him.
Accidental eye contact.
Accidental eye contact.
Yes.
And I don't remember where he was because he wasn't going across the street because we were waiting. Was he across this street?
Yeah, I think he was like, no, he was coming towards us from across the street. This guy comes up to us and we're standing waiting for the light to turn, and he kind of comes up to us and looks at us and says something along the lines of like, your eyes are so blue or something? What was it?
Yeah, he looked at us and he was like, wow, you have blue eyes. And then he like looked at you or looked at me and was like, wow, you also have blue eyes.
But it was not like the like, oh, I'm slightly looking at you from afar and I noticed your eyes are very whatever. No, it was literally like he would like peer into our eyes. Like it was fucking weird as shit.
And like we had kind of gotten used to this because like in sort of like Asian areas, like blue eyes are a little bit more rare compared to like more Caucasian and white areas. And like, but he was British.
Yeah,
like
this guy was British.
Blonde British
like,
guy.
This guy had blue eyes.
So it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so like immediately, at least I did, I'm pretty sure you did too, it was kind of like a danger warning, like went off in my head, like something is wrong, this guy is dangerous.
Yeah.
We were kind of like responding to like the questions that he was asking to us, but like not really in a very friendly way and not really in a very like telling him much about us sort of way. So he kept like asking us things like, oh, like where have you been in Japan? And we're like, oh, you know, around, like we were in Tokyo, which is like a massive city. So we're like, huh. And he's like, where are you going? We're like, oh, you know, other places in Japan.
Yeah.
And then he started like asking us like where we were staying.
Yeah, he started getting like really particular with his questions and was just kind of like, why are you here? Where are you going? Where are you staying? Who are you with? And we're like, I am not answering that question.
Yeah. And like he started almost getting frustrated and like angry at us that like we weren't giving him what he wanted. And so like, and it was very obvious that like we were uncomfortable and we didn't want to talk to him. Such a like red flag, warning, we need to get out of this situation sort of like feeling.
Yes.
And so like immediately when the walk sign like turned, we like middle of our sentence just started walking.
We were just like, okay, bye, and then just booked it into this incredibly busy, incredibly massive department store because it was big enough that we could immediately get lost and away from this guy. And it was just a very weird situation, and it's one of those things where I think like you have to understand that you like have that danger instinct and you need to trust it. Even if you're like, this probably won't mean anything, you should still trust it because at the end of the day you'd rather be safe than ending up in some weird guy's car.
And I think like as like solo or just as like female travelers, like as soon as you feel uncomfortable in the situation, don't worry about like being rude to like get yourself out of that situation.
Yes.
I feel like that's definitely like your safety really comes first. And like although, you know, we tell this story to some people and it's like sort of like a, you know, maybe he was just being nice or maybe, you know, maybe you're just overreacting, but it's like we don't know that.
Exactly.
And we're in a foreign country, you know, you really just have to take your safety first. But like also when we got into the store, like I was like kind of shaking from like adrenaline.
We were all shaking.
And like
shaking.
Just like the entire encounter just felt very like violent almost. And then like when we were like in the store, I sort of like looked outside because I was like really on like high alert.
Yeah.
And I sort of saw him like standing outside of the store, like on his phone, like looking into the store, which again gave me like major red flags. And that's the other weird thing is that like he crossed the street to us and then crossed the street again back to like follow us.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that was just like, ah!
And I think like the biggest thing that you can do is like literally just like do your best to go to like either a busy place, something that's not going to be a place where you're staying, because like you're immediately bringing them back to like where you're going to hopefully build kind of like a private space for yourself. Like if somebody's following you, go to like the crowdest place possible and just like try to get lost in the crowd as much as possible.
Yeah, we like stayed in that store for like 2 hours.
We did.
Like just literally, we literally looked at a makeup counter for like an hour, just like trying to waste time. That was sort of our horror story in Japan. And I think like one of the things that majorly stood out to me is that like it wasn't even a Japanese person that sort of like put this taint on our whole trip. It was like another Westerner who was just like acting really horrible and really creepy.
Yeah, so like also if you're like a Westerner out there and you see fellow travelers, don't be weird.
Yeah, don't be creepy.
Don't be creepy.
But yeah, we still love Japan.
But yeah, so I'd like to very much so nail and like highlight that like we had a very good time in Japan. This was just one experience that kind of like shocked us a little bit, but at the same time I think it was also important because it kept us into perspective that like this is a foreign country. This is not like just like a very comfortable place that you can go to and just whatever. Like there is still things to be aware of. I know that like a lot of women particularly have had problems with like the Japanese subway systems. Like luckily we didn't have any of that problems, but it's still something that is important to keep in mind when you're traveling to someplace like that.
Yeah, thanks for watching our video. If you want to learn more about solo traveling as a female or just traveling as a female in general, I'm going to have a video on my channel that sort of like delves into my experience with that a little bit more. As well, we have Japanese vlogs that we did on my channel as well. And we're also going to have a video coming out next week of the top 5 sort of unexpected things that people don't tell you in the travel books about Japan.
Yeah, totally. And yeah.
So subscribe for that.
Also, if you have any questions about anything that we have done in Japan, or if there's anything else that you'd like to know about maybe traveling that we can answer, feel free to leave us a comment, or you can also send us an email.
Yeah, and all of that information will be in the description box below.
Cool.
Alright, see you later. Bye!